go, guys. Welcome to 4th and 1, 49er Sports Talk. I'm joined by CG Ruthless, also known as Chris Gonzalez. What's up, Chris?
What is going on, Andre or Dre Area Sports? What is going on, Mr. Fernandez? Let's go.
I'm excited for this coming Sunday. It's Packers, Niners, always a good matchup. Every single year that they play, it's always a good game. And this Sunday, we're going to have Fox's #1 broadcasting team of, what's his name? Tom Brady and I forgot the other guy's name.
Burkhardt or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that fucker. They're gonna be there, and we're going to have their #1 team broadcasting the game. So that should be fun. The Niners, man, did not have a good week last week. They went up against the Seattle Seahawks, and in a game where a lot of us predicted them to really just blow them out, and they really should have. They should have beaten them by a large amount, and it didn't happen. Instead, they lost by a final score. That's the Bucs. Whoops. They lost by a final score of 20-17. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks. They dropped to 5-5 on the year when they could have been 6-4. And it's funny because I was watching the Houston Texans game and they were 7-4. And I'm like, man, we could have been 6-4. And in fact, yes, we could have been 6-4 and we're 5-5, but when you look at this stat right here, let me pull this up because this was just gut-wrenching to see this. So when you look at this stat here, the most points allowed in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, San Francisco was #2 at 29 points. That's terrible.
It is a terrible, and then, okay, so, yeah, Bengals are up by 2 points when it gives up the most points, but look who isn't too far off. I mean, okay, 9-point differential, but Packers do give up 20 points in the fourth quarter by 2 minutes.
They did. However, for a while there, they didn't have Jordan Love, and then he came back, and I don't think he was really 100%. So we'll see how they play out. They do have some deficiencies, in terms of their red zone defense is not very good. It's almost on par with the Niners. Same with their red zone offense as well. So we'll break down their rankings a little bit later in the show. But again, 29 points in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. In fact, a lot of these games in which they had a lead, most of which were, a 10-point lead, if the Niners could have converted these close games, we'd be sitting at 8-2 right now. Yeah. And that's an entirely different situation, being 8-2 from 5-5, and we'd be in first place in the division by at least 2 games.
At least a couple of games we would have been up by there, but now that we're just those 3 games was pretty much hurt us. Those games were winnable.
Absolutely winnable.
Yeah, like the way we weren't able to close out the game. Okay, like Seattle, for example. Why did we not even try to run the ball on 2nd and 11? We should have still kept trying to run the ball, and that would have at least got them to burn the timeout or at least kill the time.
That was a big play. Coming out of the break, I know that Greg Olsen had pointed out that they were basically stuffing the box and that something could be had, over top through the air. And that's what Kyle Shanahan did. He dialed up a play action. It was supposed to be a crossing route, and Brock missed. He threw it up and away. And I think that I get what he was going for. You hit that pass, the game is over. It's over. But at the same time, there still is that bit of risk that you're taking. And if that pass is not complete or is broken up or anything, the clock is going to stop. You're giving them a timeout.
Yeah.
And that costs the Niners the game. They should have just ran the ball and kept the clock moving and put more pressure on them to use that timeout and to get the ball back with less than a minute left and have to really do something with no timeouts. Instead, he gave them the opportunity to get the ball back with a timeout. And that was the biggest problem that I had with the game. And he's saying Olsen did call it. He did. He called it right out of the break. And then Kyle Shanahan did that. Now, I think that if Purdy hits that pass, maybe we're saying that Kyle's a genius. Hey, that was a great call by Kyle Shanahan. Ice the game. That was great. But there is a high percentage of risk that was involved with that play. Yeah. And I didn't agree with it. They should have just ran the ball.
They should have at least ran the ball. Like maybe instead of running with Christian McCaffrey, maybe you should have just gave Mason the carry and then get the volume in a little bit. But I just don't get why Kyle's not even trying to get the other running backs involved, man. What are we trying to do? Learn the same mistakes, try to wear out Christian McCaffrey to the ground again?
You know, it's one of those things too where a lot of us saw this coming. A lot of us saw the fact that, you know, we said, okay, it's going to be, you know, the percentages of who's going to get how many carries. But at the end of the day, we all freaking knew that Kyle was not going to be able to do that he was going to stick with McCaffrey the whole way through. And that's what he does. McCaffrey did have, now he did have 19 rushes for 79 yards, and he had, where is it? He had 4 catches for 27 yards. So he had 100 all-purpose yards.
Yeah, he's been a factor, but we got to get more mix into the running game. Like when you saw Mason ran the ball 2 times, he was very effective.
Dude, he was averaging 6.5 a carry on his 2 carries, and his longest was 8 yards. And both those carries, he looked explosive. He was making cuts. He had a burst of speed. You're talking about a running back that was 11 weeks into the NFL season. Christian McCaffrey is 2 weeks into the season. And when you look at what they're doing up in Detroit with Montgomery and Gibbs, why can't the Niners do something like that with Mason and McCaffrey? Why can't McCaffrey be like that Gibbs, getting 15 carries and then also lining up as a receiver with JP Mason in the backfield? You know, really make the defense have to think about how they're going to defend the Niner offense. And it boggles my mind that this continues to happen where you have JP Mason, who looked explosive. He gets 2 carries, and that's it. Now, Steve-O, I hear what you're saying. Steve-O saying because Mason's not good at blocking, but he's been their primary running back for the first 9 weeks of the season.
Yeah, like it doesn't hurt to add some more extra carries at least. I mean, then try to sprinkle in Garendo. We know he's one big run away from a big play, so got to get some creative a little bit.
Well, let me ask you: do you think that he's overusing CMC in the sense that he's in too many plays? That JP Mason should be getting more carries per game.
He should, like, maybe a little bit more. Like, I just feel like we're making the same mistake with CMC. Like, aren't we trying to be more cautious with him and try to use him the right way? I don't think the way we're doing it is doing it the right way. Like, let him get fresher as the season goes on and try to split the carries.
Wow. I mean, I agree. There's a lot of things that I think a lot of teams or a lot of fans are questioning when it comes to the way the organization is being ran, especially the roster. And we talk about, not getting, Mason not getting enough carries. We talk about the offensive line. We talk about Jake Brendel not being really I don't even think he's the right answer at the center position. Let me share this with you real quick. So this is, let me see, is this it here?
I mean, a lot of people have been saying this a lot about Brendel myself.
You've been saying this too. Okay, here's Jake Brendel's grades and rankings among centers through week 11 per PFF. Overall blocking grade, he's a 64.2, ranked 40th. Pass blocking grade, he's ranked 39th. Run
Terrible.
Blocking grade, 71%, ranked 13th, right?
Yeah.
Not good. Not good. And then on top of that, John Chapman adds, it's important to remember that there are only 32 starting centers in the league.
He's being sarcastic. You can tell he's being sarcastic about it. But
that's what I'm saying. But when you're ranked 40th,
yeah, that's terrible.
There's even backups that are doing a better job.
Yeah, there's even I would think Feliciano would do a better job if they get him off IR. I mean, look at the Rams backup center. He's playing freaking better than him.
But that's what kills me, though, is that, even Larry Krueger, he asked Chris Forrester. He said, what is it about Brendel that, that he does better than anybody else that you have on the roster? And he was like, oh, well, he does a lot of things better. There's multiple categories he does better. Whatever he's doing right, I mean, I'm not really seeing it. Now, we could argue that, Feliciano should be starting at center or at least get a shot. But the guy can't even get on the field, and he's back from injury, but yet he doesn't even get on the field. It's unbelievable, man.
No, I think they have to deactivate him off IR, dude. I think he'll be fine. I just don't get how, from the offensive line, being honest with you, dude, like, come on, what has Brendo done, bro? I'm sick of Chris Forrester. He needs to be fired. I think that's the argument that I would have for a coach to be fired. Chris Forrester needs to get out of here, bro. Come on, man. Jake Brendo hasn't proven nothing. Like, okay, maybe Colt McKivitz, he's shown a little progress, but I'm still critical on Colt McKivitz a little bit. But as far as Jake Brendo, I've seen enough. I think a lot of us are starting to realize he isn't what he is, and he isn't worth keeping around. Like, we need to get a center. And the sooner we fix that issue, the better that Brock Purdy will have on the pocket, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a knock on Brendo, but he's just not good. And I've been calling his ass out through all social media platforms, but I guess he blocked me. So, hey, I just feel like he's not the answer.
Yeah, I really don't either. McKivitz as well is not really the answer. He hasn't been good really all year. I know that he had a pretty good week last week, but he did give up the sack. Keys writes, "We're not a complete team. Unfortunately, all phases of the team have had a hand in loss, including Kyle's play calling." I would agree. Steve-O writes, "When you try and catch an easy punt and your arms are wide open, the ball and then the ball only a foot wide is my issue." He's talking about JP Mason on his fumble on the kickoff. It's just there's problems all over this team. Special teams, defense, offense. The offense looked dismal this past week. And in fact, it was their lowest yards total all season long.
Yeah.
And you could see it. It was just like, oh my God, what is happening right now? And they just were not in sync whatsoever. They didn't have George Kittle. And I didn't think that would be a big deal, but apparently it is, because they were not able to move the ball effectively, not only through the air, but on the ground.
Yeah. He is like he's a huge difference as far as his running blocking game and the way he catches the ball. Defense are very honest with him. So you see that the only guy who was our main factor was Juwan Jennings. Outside of him, it was only Christian McCaffrey who was doing what he could,
Exactly. Juwan Jennings, 10 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. He had a monster game. But it always feels like whenever he has a monster game, the Niners always end up losing. He had a monster game against the Rams, and they lost.
Yeah. But then the one against the Buccaneers, he actually was the reason why we won. And he had like 93 yards.
Yeah.
Most of his monster games are like, oh shoot, we lost. But if you look at his record through the monster games he had, I guess he's like 2-2.
Well, here's the other thing too, is that what happened to Ricky Pearsall? He had 2 targets, 0 catches.
Non-factor, I guess. No separation or no timing.
I don't know what it is. I mean, look, I know you got Debo, you got McCaffrey, you have Jennings out there, but you're coming off a game where Pearsall had a nice touchdown. He had 4 catches for 70+ yards, and now he has 0 catches on 2 targets. It just shows you that Jennings had 10 catches on 11 targets, right?
Yeah, he was reliable.
The offense was really going through him, and nothing else was really working. Debo had 4 catches for 22 yards. Juszczyk had 2 catches. Saubert had 1 catch, but that's really it. McCaffrey had 4. That's not a lot of production out of your receiving core.
Yeah, not a lot of production, but we're going to be looking into the next couple of years about these receivers that were drafted after Pearsall, man. Like Ladd McConkey, bro, what the heck? That dude was wide open from the Chargers. Xavier Legette looks like he's pretty much the only best receiver they got in Carolina. I mean, dude, we can go on. Like Keon Coleman's looking pretty good for the Bills.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, we'll know pretty soon, but I'm hoping that Pearsall can step it up the next week, man. That's all I'm hoping for.
One thing that is interesting, too, is that in the red zone, the Niners were 2 for 3, so it's a little bit better. But the fact of the matter is they couldn't get in the red zone, so that was a hard time for them even moving the ball down the field. This is a game in which the Niners should have won this game like 31-20.
Yeah, at
They
least one.
should have put up more points, and they didn't. The interception, the ball got tipped in the air, intercepted. Like, you gotta be kidding me! Deep in our own zone.
Yeah, it happens, man. Like it's
Total
like,
yards, we had 277 yards of total offense.
season low. Season low for us. Yep.
Season low. It's just, I mean, passing first downs, we each had 10. You know, it's just, there's so many stats where you look at it. I mean, we still won time of possession. We 33 minutes to 26. But our drives, though we had the ball longer, a lot of these drives just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't go nowhere to a field goal or nothing like that.
No, and normally the Niners are good for at least getting in field goal range. You couldn't even do that. They had that possession where they drove the ball down the field, were in field goal range, and then a false start penalty against the Niners, which pushed them back 5 yards, and then a sack, and then they were out of field goal range, and they had to punt the ball. That was like the beginning of the end. I was like, oh my God, you just fucked yourself over.
Yeah,
And not only that, but after that sack, he had a play down the middle to Deebo Samuel that the linebacker made a play on and was able to kind of tip it out of the air and bat the ball down, which would have got them back into field goal range. So there was a lot of things that was happening that just wasn't going their way. When you look at the Seahawks, Geno Smith was 25 of 32, 221 yards and one pick. He had a good drive at the end of the game, but Yatir Gross-Matos, I mean, if you watched him on defense in that fourth quarter, he looked gassed. He had no effort. He wasn't ready for all those snaps because Nick Bosa had to leave the game. And that was another thing. Once Bosa left, all of a sudden, Geno Smith was like, woo, let's go. He's throwing the ball everywhere, running around because Nick Bosa wasn't there. And I'm sorry, I keep saying this every week. People keep wanting to say, oh, well, Nick Bosa's not playing as good as he used to. He's one of the biggest factors on defense. Yeah, when he left the game, it's really unbelievable. Smith and Jigma, 10 catches for 110 yards.
Yeah, he had a great performance, but yeah, when you miss Bosa, you're missing pressure consistently. And when he was out there, the yards per attempt average was like 3 yards, and then once he left, it went up to 6 yards.
Yeah.
So I think the problem with Nick Sorensen is he needs to get creative, man. Why not we do some more blitz, man, or something?
Well, we saw that in Tampa, especially that last drive when Baker was trying to, the drive where we were fucking face masking and holding we basically carried them all the way to the red zone, but they were down at blitzes that entire drive, and it was forcing Baker Mayfield to throw the ball under pressure, and that caused him to be inaccurate. But yet in this game, against Geno Smith, they couldn't do that. You saw no blitzes. They were coming at you with just 4 rushers, one of which, Gross-Matos, he was gassed. He was barely getting any push. There was one play where he got pushed to the ground because he was so worn out because it was literally like, his first game back, second game back? And so and he wasn't ready to take on that many plays on defense. Devondre Campbell, again, that last play where Geno scored the touchdown, he couldn't change direction and get to Geno Smith. If that's Dre Greenlaw, I think he does.
Dre Greenlaw would have hit him pretty hard, and he wouldn't have gotten a lot of yards out of it. Nope.
Well, he wouldn't even have ran. He would have started to saw Greenlaw and then just tried to force the ball somewhere. Like, well, if I go, I'm going to get smashed. But not with Devondre Campbell. He can't. He can't change direction.
Oh yeah, that guy's slow. Okay, I'm going to beat him.
Yeah, he's like, he can't catch me. Leonard Floyd, he had 1.5 sacks. I thought that once Bosa went out, I did see him, at least getting pressure, but not enough, obviously. Gross-Matos got a sack. Nick Bosa got a sack and a half. He shared a sack with Leonard Floyd. And at that point, before Bosa left the game, I felt like the defense, especially the pass rush, was starting to come together, and I was getting really excited. And then he went out with the injury, and I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, and there is a good chance he might not even play this Sunday. So what's the plan with Sorensen, bro? You're going to have to start doing some blitzes because the guys we have, they're not really cutting it right now.
Nick Sorensen so far is not the answer
No,
whatsoever.
I
It's
mean,
not good. It's
yeah,
really, really not good. When you have a stat like this that we're looking at earlier, that's
yeah.
not a good thing. And you can blame Kyle Shanahan all you want because he is the head coach and the buck stops with him. But as a defensive coordinator, Nick Sorensen, you have to do something about this. This
You
is
gotta change
detrimental
up
to
your
the
defense.
season.
Yeah, got to start changing up a little bit. Like instead of doing the 4-man pressure, stop going vanilla. Try to freaking like if you want to get to the quarterback, if you want to make them uncomfortable, you might have to try to do some 5-man pressure or maybe try to get your linebacker to blitz a little bit. But then again, what's the point? Unless they put D Winters out there, that would be great. But I
Well,
think
he was out there for that one play. They tried to run a pass to DK Metcalf early in the game, and it got broken up because of good coverage by D Winters. And if that was Devondre Campbell, he would not be able to keep up with him. And I think the other problem is that they're afraid to send Warner on a blitz because that leaves Devondre Campbell out there by himself. He can't cover anybody. Now, granted, against the Cowboys, against the Buccaneers, I did think that Campbell had two of his best games of the year. But last week, I thought again, his weaknesses started to show up again.
Yeah.
Jerry G says, "What's up, CG? What's up, my guy?
What's up, Jerry? What's going on? His Saints won against the Browns. Man, they put a whooping.
David Corona says, "What up, everyone? What's up, David?
What's up, David?"
But there's so many issues that are happening every week with the Niners. Their offense couldn't get going. It was one holding / false start penalty after another that just derailed the offense.
Yeah, the drives were derailed. I mean, sure, we would have probably settled for field goals, but I think the fact that flags were too much to the point we couldn't even settle for those. So a lot of reasons why it hurt us. Like, can Kyle actually evolve better, man? Because I think a lot of the defense is starting to adjust better, man. They're starting to mix up some pressures on Purdy, man. They're starting to throw in some stuff that you don't see coming.
Well, that's one of the things that I was talking about on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio this past Tuesday when I had on Jesse Naylor of Last Second Sports. I was talking about, dude, it feels like the league has caught up with the Kyle Shanahan offense because it doesn't feel like he's fooling anybody, or at least the way he was fooling defenses in previous years. It just seems like they're somewhat ready for it.
I think the best way to adjust to it, man, is getting some better damn starting quality offensive linemen, better center than Brendo, or try to get creative. Like if nothing's open, try to throw in a short outlet pass. And I think Purdy's trying too hard, man. He needs to like look at the outlet receivers. Like nothing wrong with doing checkdowns, man. Like I don't see no issue with a check down, bro. If nobody's open, if you're trying to throw in the big pass, bro, you're trying too hard. If nobody's open,
it seems like there's too many deeper routes this year than there were in years past, and I'm not sure why. Because your offensive line isn't built to give pass coverage for that long. These longer routes, these deeper progressing routes, it reminds me of Mike Martz. He used to have these long, slow progressing plays that always led to the Niners getting sacked. And so, again, I feel like the only time I saw San Francisco look like the Niners of last year was at the beginning of the second half against the Cowboys. We saw a lot more plays that led to yak yardage. Now all of a sudden we're not seeing that, and it's like why? Why are we running these deep, long progressing routes? When we got guys, we have playmakers that are built to get the ball and then get yards after the catch. That's what they're built for. McCaffrey, Debo, even Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle.
Even Jennings can get that, but you got to evolve more. Like, dude, I think the long passes like, I get it. Maybe you want to get the big plays, but those are risky. But maybe some of those short passes are more worth your chances. Maybe a chance of a big play or this. But, dude, I don't understand. Like, if McCaffrey's open, then throw it to him instead of holding on to the ball a little bit. I think Purdy is just trying too hard. And he needs to trust his instinct. If nobody's open, try to see if Kyle Juszczyk can get open a little bit, or even McCaffrey. Maybe you get maybe 5 or 6 yards out of that play, and go on to another play.
Yeah, it's just frustrating to see what they're doing, because this team is loaded with talent.
Yeah, there are. It's just we're not utilizing them the right way. It's like, what's the point of having some good studded running backs on the bench, bro? Mason can play. Give him some touches. Maybe keep McCaffrey fresh. If not, try to put McCaffrey in the slot. Try to mix up the offense, man. You need to be more innovative, Kyle. Defense, they're starting to figure out your offense, bro. You got to change up a little bit. Catch them off guard.
Something has to change.
And I just don't think the way he's doing this offense, it ain't working, bro. Red zone has gotten worse. Even when McCaffrey's been returning, it hasn't really made much of a difference.
No, it hasn't. Keys writes, why the hell is Campbell in there at the end of the game on obvious passing downs? A safety or a cornerback will provide better coverage and change of direction, which he has none. Or even D. Winters would have been a better option than Devondre Campbell at that point.
Yeah, I don't understand why Winters is on the bench.
At the same time, what did Seattle do? They went to a no-huddle offense. It didn't allow the Niners to make any changes. Then they were stuck with Campbell. They were stuck with Gross Matos. He was gassed. And they had no timeouts left. Yeah, I thought the challenge that Shanahan did to say that Smith and Jigma was out of bounds, I thought he was out of bounds. When he caught that pass, he was out. And they were like, it's been over, or the call stands, it's a completion. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
It touched a little of the white line, like fingertip of it. Like it was like a finger, like a little fingertip touch of it.
You could see, his foot. It was just like, oh, come on, dude. You gotta be fucking kidding me. And guys, here's a link to the tip jar. If you want to help support the channel, you can do so by clicking on that link and dropping any amount you want in the tip jar. I appreciate that. As this channel, I don't have super chats yet, so this is one way to support the channel. Show some love.
I mean, it's very questionable the way you look at it, but then there was a couple of missed penalties from the refs. Like, how the heck do you not call a 5-yard penalty on the Seahawks calling a consecutive timeout, bro? That's supposed to be a 5-yard penalty or something.
And just the announcement of a 5-yard penalty, that shifts momentum right there.
Yeah, it makes a difference from, 4th and 6 to like 4th and 1. I think more than likely would have gambled it or maybe had a chance to kick a field goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, before we get any further, I just want a big shout out to the sponsors of this stream. This show is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code DreAreaSports to save $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. You can also use promo code CGRuthless and save an additional $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Use promo code DreAreaSports when making your first bet over at BetUS. They will match you up to 125% on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000 when using promo code DreAreaSports. So check out BetUS. There's links in the description below. And, of course, we're brought to you by Power Brand Systems. Use promo code 300POWER and save up to $300 on your first purchase over at Power Brand Systems. They will design you a magnificent, spectacular website for your small business or YouTube channel. You want to see an example of that? Go to my website, which is Nicotina.net. That's the home site. That's the homepage for all 3 of my channels, including Dre Area Sports. Memberships are available on Nicotina.net. So if you want to support the channel and you want to become a member and join the community, go to Nicotina.net and become a member. You get access to the videos before the general public does. I have a video up right now about CMC. I'll have another one about Brock Purdy after this stream is over. So definitely check out Nicotina.net and join the community and become a member of the Dre Area Sports Show, which is on there. Right on the homepage, you scroll down, you'll see all 3 of my channels. Dre Area Sports is right there in the middle. Click on that and become a member of the channel. Even when this channel becomes monetized, I'm not going to promote memberships on YouTube. I'd rather have everybody go through my website because I don't have to share your money with YouTube because they take a cut. If you do it through my website, it goes straight to the channel. So I appreciate everyone who's already a part of that. Rick Diaz says, how you doing, faithful friends? At panel. At panel. Rick Diaz on Chicago dying here. 49er fan just came in to listen too late. What's up, Rick Diaz? Steve-O says all the refs covered their mouths. I think suspicious here. I know they usually do that when it comes to the fucking Seahawks. Let's go 49ers. Let's try and get the win on Sunday. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. There was a couple of kind of like, I don't want to sound like the refs were the reason why they cost us the game, but let's be honest, like the catches from Jackson Smith and Jakeman, that should have been incomplete. What about the DK Metcalf catch, bro? He didn't even have full possession of the ball. Like the ball was moving by the time he was already getting the ball, his foot was out of bounds.
I know, it was stupid. It was just so stupid.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, you're at home.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to get those calls when you're at home? I mean, I'm not trying to sound, biased or anything, but usually that's the case.
Usually
so it's just a little stupid.
Yeah, usually the home teams get a lot of favorites, but
you would think, right? Let's go to this right here. This is a video from the Deebo Samuel podcast where he talked about the reaction in the locker room after the loss to the Seattle Seahawks. So let's go to that right. Where is it? Right now.
Game, you guys just couldn't keep momentum. Like you said, you would get it and then penalty. So it's like your momentum just kept getting cut, which I think is something that you guys are obviously skilled enough to push past and get through. What was the locker room like after the loss? Motivated? Did it feel
locker
like
room was like you can hear penny drop in there? Like it was like dead silent. And you kind of know what that means. Like we had every opportunity to kind of put that game away early, but penalty stopped us. We were struggling in the red zone a little bit, but you're not gonna win every game. We were 6-0 the past 3 years ago against Seattle, and we know every time we play them, it's always a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like I said on last week's show, like years ago, my rookie year, came down to the inch-yard line, but Geno and his offense did a good job going downfield. Our defense played well all game.
Yeah.
So they was putting us in the positions where to kind of put the game away. So I kind of look at us as like, we gotta hone in and look at ourselves in the mirror and just be our best self and just go out there and play the ball that we play.
So that was a little bit about what was going on inside the locker room. Still, at the end of the day, they got to get it done.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard right now because, there's games that you can afford to lose and there's games that you cannot afford to lose. And they've already blown all those games.
Yeah.
The Rams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks.
Those are division games that you've blown away, and
they're better. They're better than those teams, and they blew all those games. There's not a single game this year in which the Niners got their ass kicked and got blown out. No, they've been in every single game. They just can't. They just can't do it, man.
They just can't close it this year. And as far as I'm just not a big fan of these players doing podcasts, bro. I'm sorry. It's just nothing but energy, but.
But the Deebo Samuel podcast is fucking terrible. It's not. He just sits there and the girl talks. He's just like, or even like Micah Parsons. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
That's what I don't like about it, bro. I don't care for these players' podcasts, bro. Y'all need to get back into football and stop talking about the wins or losses, bro. We don't want to hear about it. We rather just you do it into the press conference. Like seriously, bro. Like Michael Parsons, the reason why these podcasts suck, bro. Like Deebo, bro,
it really is. They're hella dumb.
Do we want to see Deebo talk about this? No, he sounds weird.
Exactly. It's so stupid. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
So let's break into another segment because this is getting depressing now. Let's go into our segment of 4th and 1, where I'm gonna give you a statement, and we can both respond if we're gonna go for it or if we're gonna punt. Let me get some music going here. Oh, let's go with this one again. Oh, that's hella loud. Okay, here we go. 4th and 1. The first statement I'm going to put up on the screen. Let me get to it right now. I'm in the wrong section. Here we go. CMC will gain over 100 all-purpose yards for the 3rd straight week.
I'm going for it.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it as well. He's such a big part of the offense. I don't see Kyle Shanahan going away from him. I see Kyle Shanahan leaning even further into CMC. So I say I'm going to go for it. Next statement: Nick Bosa will not play versus Green Bay.
It kind of seems more likely that he won't play, so I might have to punt.
So do you think he is going to play? Because this is saying he's not going to play.
Okay. I'm going to go for it because it doesn't seem like Bosa doesn't look like he's going to play, bro. Like, I think they're trying to make him play, but they just signed Jonathan Garvin off the practice squad.
That's a big sign right there.
That indicates something right there. So I'm going to say I'm going for it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it as well. As much as I want Nick Bosa out there, I don't think he's going to be healthy enough to go. He could barely move after the game. I just don't see him being able to pull this one off. Cold game, more running. I know, right? Okay, so let's go to the next one. George Kittle will have at least one touchdown versus Green Bay.
I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it too because, I mean, we saw the difference with him and Eric Saubert. It was pretty bad. A lot of missed blocks. It wasn't even really a target. Eric Saubert, I think I call him Nick. Eric Saubert had one catch for 7 yards.
And they didn't do too much, and they had to go bring in Jalen Moore as another option to block.
Yeah, they're bringing in Jalen Moore because they were like, fuck, this guy's fucking up. Get him out of there. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm going to go for it. I think he'll have at least one touchdown. I think he'll end the game at least with 6 catches because he's one of their main targets, and not having him out there was fucking huge. Next one. Juwan Jennings will have over 100 yards receiving versus Green Bay.
Man, he almost had it on the other game. I feel like this is the third time the charm is going to get it. I'm going to go for it. Yeah, I'm going to gamble.
I'm going to go for it. I mean, in the last game, he had 10 catches for 91 yards, and that's 10 catches on 11 targets.
Yeah.
So he's getting open. So I think, I'm going to go for it.
He's going to keep getting more targets as the season goes on because he's more reliable than those other receivers.
Yeah. Next one. Trent Williams will play this Sunday versus Green Bay.
Is this even a question? I'm going for it.
There we go. He's going to go for it. I'm going to go for it too. I know that he did get a shot in his ankle before the game, which is probably like a cord zone shot. But I think with the season on the line, he's got to go out there. There's no way he's not, unless he literally cannot walk on his ankle. I think he'll be out there.
Yeah, he'll be out there.
Next question. JP Mason will not get more than 2 carries versus Green Bay.
Will not get more than 2 more carries. I'm going to say punt.
You think he's going to get more carries than 2?
He's going to get more than that, bro, because it's going to come down to more of the running game. Are they going to really try to wear out McCaffrey to the ground? No, they're going to have to mix it up a little bit. So it's going to be more. But
that's one of the things with Kyle Shanahan. He leans so heavily on Christian McCaffrey. It is a good chance that he's just going to keep pounding the ball. I agree. I think they should use more Mason, especially against Green Bay.
But I think this game is going to be where he gets at least 5 or more touches.
Yeah.
I don't see no way they're going to do that, bro. They're going to run the ball 30 times. Do you really think they're going to run McCaffrey all the way to the ground like that, knowing that he's already coming back from a couple of games?
I would hope not. Let's put it that way. I would hope that they would change things up. But overall, the rushing defense, the Packers have the 28th ranked rushing defense.
That's why we're going to run it with CMC. We're going to run it with CMC, of course.
But here's a problem with that, though. As much as I'm like, yeah, like they have the terrible run defense. They are, like I said, the Packers have 28. The Seahawks had the 31st ranked rushing defense. And we couldn't even run the fucking ball. That's what I was like, God damn it, these guys, man. It's frustrating. The Niners have the 3rd best rush defense.
Yeah, we were missing Kittle, so that might have been a difference.
It's just unbelievable, dude.
It is. Oh.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. Kyle Shanahan is on the hot seat.
I'm punting.
You're going to punt it, huh?
Not even a question, dude. Like, until he has 2 consecutive losing seasons, then we can have this conversation.
Yeah. As much as Kyle Shanahan can be frustrating, as much as times I've been upset with him, and I've been a huge supporter of Kyle Shanahan this year, but as of recently, especially as of last week, I was really upset with Kyle Shanahan. I don't believe he's the kind of coach that you can just fire and move on to somebody else. I do think that the fact that Ben Johnson is going to be available does give you the option to say, okay, do we go that route? But I think with all that he's established and everything that he's built here, I think that. Do I think he's in the hot seat? I think he's in the hot seat going into next year, especially if we don't make the playoffs. But I don't think he's going to be fired at the end of this year. I don't. Although if they don't make the playoffs, I think there's a big argument that he might get fired. I just don't see Jed York doing it. I think a lot of people would probably bring up that argument that, hey, maybe we should move on from Kyle Shanahan.
No, not this year, but the following year, it could be a discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. That's going to do it for 4th and 1. Remember, I'm going to post 4th and 1 the game every week. So if you missed it live, you'll be able to see it on my channel as a video segment. So definitely check that out. Okay, so
I'm going to give you an interesting stat that's mind-blowing.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay, so like you just said, that the great quarterback's going to be commentating, right?
Yeah.
Have you looked at the records when he commentates home teams?
No.
1 in 10 home teams have struggled.
Wow.
So let's fucking go.
And let's talk about the game coming up this Sunday, which is Niners versus Packers. This is gonna be a brutal game. I feel like this is gonna be a physical game. Because yeah, I hope not, but it probably is going to be. So when you look at the defense, okay, so every week I like to break down the defensive and offensive rankings to kind of see where each team kind of lines up with each other. So when we look at total defense, we're looking at the Niners are ranked number 8 in total defense, while the Packers are ranked 17th. So their defense is not as good as the 49ers in terms of overall ranking. Pass defense through the air, the Packers are ranked 9th in their pass defense. Niners are ranked 14th, which I think is kind of funny because you got guys like Ronaldo Green, you got Diamador Lenore, and now this week we're going to have Charvarius Ward back in the lineup. I think that's going to make a huge difference in clamping down on the receivers. We talked about the run defense. Niners have the 3rd best run defense in the league, while the Packers have the 28th run defense. But we saw last week, Seahawks had the 31st ranked run defense, and we still couldn't run the ball. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. But I think this plays in favor so far defensively for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Run zone defense. You know what? I'm just going to pull it up so you can see it as well.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, red zone defense. The Niners are ranked 16th in red zone defense. They have a playoff rate. Jesus. They have a 54.5% and an 83.3 playoff rate. The Packers are ranked 10th in their red zone defense. 3rd down defense. This is something the Niners need to improve on so badly. The Niners are ranked 23rd in their 3rd down defense, and that's an area they struggled in all year. But look who's right behind them.
The Packers.
The Green Bay Packers. They're ranked 25th. I guess 24th doesn't exist. I don't know. But
that's worse than us, so that means it's going to be a pretty interesting game.
Exactly. And so with that being said, those are some of the defensive stats of how the Niners and the Packers sort of line up with each other. Let's take a look at the offensive stats. Offensively, this is all courtesy of Fox Sports. The Niners still have the number 2 ranked offense in the league in terms of total yardage. But when you look at number 3 is the Lions. Yeah, we beat them in total yards. Look how many more touchdowns the Lions and the Ravens have over the Niners. It's double. Yeah.
It's crazy that we don't even have the most touchdowns and we have the 2nd most yards.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know right there.
Yeah.
Passing offense, we have the number 4 ranked passing offense. I mean, that's how good we are passing the ball. Packers are number 9. So 4 against 9.
Yeah.
Run defense, we're looking at the Niners are ranked number 7. The Packers are ranked number 4.
Ooh.
So they have a good run defense. So again, I think that Kyle Shanahan. What's that?
I thought it was rush offense.
Oh, I'm sorry, rush offense. I'm sorry. Rush offense, we have number 7. Packers have the number 4.
So that's going to be a good matchup. Yeah, because Jacobs is pretty good.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs is good. And I think that they are going to try to dictate the game by running the football and making them – they're going to try to dictate the pace of the game with the run game. Now, when we look at the scoring offense, And that's what offenses should do. They should score. We're ranked number 8 at 25. The Packers. Did I miss it? I must have missed it.
I don't know. Can't see. Wait,
They're also ranked number 8. Isn't that crazy how close these two teams are?
yeah, we're identical. So I think
We're almost identical.
Going to be a close game.
Red zone offense. We know the Niners struggle with this one. The Packers are. Look at this.
They're behind the Niners. Holy cow!
26 and 27. They're almost the same when it comes to red zone offense.
Holy cow! So this might be something we got to watch out for.
Third down offense. The Niners are ranked 4th in their third down offense. The Packers are ranked 22nd.
Ooh.
So they're not as they have a 36% chance of converting on third down, while the Niners hold a 45% chance of converting on fourth down. So 10% difference. That should be interesting to see how that plays out. But overall, though, these two teams are very similar, especially in the red zone. And they're both fairly good at running as well. The Packers are ranked the 4th best rushing offense. Niners are the 8th best rushing offense. Niners just got Christian McCaffrey back. I really do believe that if it's a two-headed monster of McCaffrey and Mason, I think that will go farther with them. I think that would take them farther, and that's something I would love to see. So let's round things out with our score predictions. Chris, what do you predict for the score of the Niners versus Packers this Sunday?
I expect it to be a score in the 20s. I think it's not going to be like as like high score. You're probably going to see the scores add up into the fourth quarter, but I think this is the game where this is a get right game for the Niners. So I think the crazy part is it's probably going to be more of a factor in the running game actually more than the passing game. But I think
so?
I think it's going to be more of the running game between both teams. But I think whoever runs the ball better actually would probably have a better pass and efficient game. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Niners 27-20 Packers against the Packers. So we're going to win. We're going to win in Green Bay. So the Niners are going to beat the Packers in Green Bay. And you know why that's going to happen? Because
why?
Tom Brady's commentating over there.
I hope that's the case. Look, I think that the Niners can win this game. I don't know if they will, but they can because the Niners have had a lot of problems. But if the Niners win this game, I think they're going to win by the final score of 24-21. I think it's going to be a close game, and it wouldn't surprise me if we hit a field goal to either win the game or give us the lead at the end of the game, and the Packers are unable to tie it up or even take the lead. So I think it's going to be a really close game. I think Jordan Love is going to play much better than he has because for him, this is the team he wants to beat because he didn't beat them in the playoffs last year. So there's a lot of emotion, a lot of rivalry going on here, but I think the Niners win 24-21, and you say 27-21, right? Or 27-20.
27-20. But I think the crazy part about this game is I heard the Packers have the most drops in the lead.
Well, let's hope that still holds true. But the one thing I'm worried about with the number 4 rushing offense of the Packers, can the Niners have that run-stopping effect on Josh Jacobs?
That's a tough matchup. Yeah, I think we might be able to do that because we did a little bit on Kenneth Walker, and
we did. I thought Evan Anderson made a big difference out there. So yeah. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how it does. I think it's going to be a very close game, but it wouldn't surprise me if we go up by a touchdown and they don't come back and win this game.
Yeah. Guys, that's going to do it for the show. Like I said, big shout out to our sponsors, SeatGeek. Use promo code DreAreaSports to save $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. Use promo code CGRuthless to save an additional $20 on your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by BetUS. BetUS will match you up to 125% on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when using promo code DreAreaSports. So definitely check out BetUS. It's where the game begins. And we're brought to you by Power Brand Systems. If you're looking for help developing and building a website for your small business or your YouTube channel, social media account, then check out Power Brand Systems. Use promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 on your first purchase over at Power Brand Systems. Use the referral link in the description below when making that first purchase over at Power Brand Systems. They're the ones who develop my website, which is nicotina.net. That's the homepage for all 3 of my channels, including Dre Area Sports. Memberships are available, and you can join the community where I'm posting videos ahead of time before they're released to the general public. I got a CMC video up there right now, so definitely check that out. And Chris, what do you got lined up for the rest of the week, man?
Guess college football and then watch the NFL, I guess. I mean,
That's it, man.
just excited about this Sunday. What about you?
Well, don't you got a show later today?
No, tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? I thought
Yeah,
it was on
tomorrow.
Wednesdays.
No, with Bella on Thursdays because they're
On
scheduled.
Thursday? Oh, okay, I was gonna say because usually I'm at my kids' gymnastics class when you guys go live, and I was like, hey.
I think I kind of decided to change up the schedule because her
Yeah.
schedule was a little different. And then she said she could only do Thursdays at this time.
Well, there you go, Thursdays. Let's check it out, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for 4th and 1. 49ers Sports Talk. We'll see you next week.
Let's go,
Will the Niners go Niners? Will they get the win against the Packers? I think so. It'll be a close game, but I think they're gonna have to get this win, and they will pull it off and improve to 6-5. Now, remember, when the Niners face the Packers in the playoffs in that cold game where Robbie Gould hit the field goal to win the game, the Niners were 5-5 at one point that year. So that goes to show you that anything is possible in the
Yep.
NFL.
Yep, it's possible. I mean, hey, man, we had slow starts before, and it's nothing new here.
There we go. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.